I'm Allie with PotomacBeads. I'm excited to share with you today the Infinite Pearl Bracelet. This is a nice take on the delicate look of pearls along with the heavier look of some Potomax metals. If you need any materials, go ahead and check the links below to shop with us online. Gather everything up on your bead audit board and let's get started. For this Infinite Pearl necklace, we are starting out with a 3-strand clasp. You don't have to do that. You can do a 1-strand or a button. It's totally up to you. I have 0.006 Wildfire beading thread here and 2 size 12 needles. A collection of some Potomax, the silver colored WaveTrio, the gunmetal BowTrio, then 2 glass pearls, a 4mm and a 6mm. In those blue tones, the seed beads in the 11-0 Miyuki, and those are a line steel blue. And then I have some 15-0 seed beads as well. I have about 5 feet of beading thread with a needle on either end. I'm going to begin by adding my clasp, and I'm using this 3-strand clasp just for the point that it's a heavier bracelet. That's a nice mix of the metals. I'm going to string through that center loop of the clasp and have both strands come on out. From here, I'm going to pretty much lock them in place with 1 and 2 strands going through that same 11-0 seed bead. There's that single 11-0. From here, I'm going to spread my thread out. So one needle goes to kind of one side, one needle goes to the other. I want you to add onto your thread and needle 1, 2, and 3 of your 15-0 seed beads, followed by 1, 2, and 3 of your 11-0 seed beads. Let those drop down on the right needle, and we're going to do the same thing now, dropping it down on the left-hand needle. After putting that same thing on the left-hand needle, I want you to put 1 15 followed by 4, 6 4mm pearl, followed by 1 more 15. Those were on the right side. I'm going to take my, or left side, I'm going to take my right needle now in my hand, and I'm going to go back through, crossing the threads in the middle of that 15 pearl 15 sequence. The needle that was on the right is going to come to the left-hand side, and the left-hand needle comes to the right. That spreads this out here, right in the center of your design. And now we're going to get ready to add in the first of our BowTrio WaveTrio combo. Once you're done coming out of the 15-0s, you're going to put onto your right needle 2 11-0s, your left needle 2 11-0s. Then on the right O, I want you to put this combination of a gunmetal BowTrio facing in towards the center, towards that infinity sign, 2 11-0s, one of my WaveTrios with an opening so that way I can put in my 4mm pearl, followed by the WaveTrio facing the opposite direction, followed by 2 11-0s, and then your next of your BowTrio. With the left-hand needle now, I'm going to take my thread and needle and go back through all of these that I just added with my right needle. The needles, just like they did on the pearls, are going to switch sides, so the needle that was on the left is going to sit on the right and vice versa. Pulling the thread and needles then, this is going to sit right on top of our crisscrossed pearls. We're now going to work our thread and needle up the design, going lateral and crossing through. The next thing we're going to be adding is 2 of our 6mm pearls towards the interior there of that infinity side. Prior to that, we need to get up to that point. To get up to that point, I want you to go ahead and add in 4 of your 11-0 seed beads onto your thread and needle. I'm currently on the right-hand side, and I'm going to go through my BowTrio, through a 6mm pearl, through my WaveTrio. This is all through the second hole. In the middle of the WaveTrios, I'm going to put 1 15-0 seed bead. So through the next WaveTrio, again, we're through the center of the 3 holes. Mimic on the other side, adding 1 of your 6mm pearls, and going over on the opposite side through that center hole of the BowTrio. Once I have that there, I'm going to repeat the same thing with the left needle till I get to the opposite side, which will come out on the right-hand side of the piece. As we progress up the piece, on the right-hand side, I want you to add 4 of your seed beads. We'll do the same thing to the left-hand side. Go through the 3rd hole of the wave trio, add 2 more 11 O's, go through the 3rd hole of the wave trio, add your 4mm pearl, go through the 2nd hole, or the 2nd wave trio rather, through the 3rd hole. Coming out then, repeat the 2 seed beads, and through the 3rd hole of that bow trio. Once I pull this, then you'll see I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So just like we've been doing, go ahead now, and that needle that was on the right is now on the left. On the left-hand side, we're going to repeat that 1, 2, 3, and 4 11 O seed bead, up through that 2nd hole, through the seed beads, through the wave, through the pearl, through the wave, out the other side. And if you can get it the whole way through on one try, that's awesome. Now when you give a nice tight pull, you'll see some open space here. We're going to come back after we get this whole line done and add in some more of our seed beads. From here, we're repeating our pearls. So our pearls go with 1 and 2 11 O, then 15 4mm, one of my 6mm, followed by another 4, followed by another 15. Let this sit right in the center there. Grab your needle on the left-hand side, mimic with your 11 O's, then share the rest of the beads going through the opposite direction, crisscrossing through the 15 pearls and the 15 out the other side. From here, we are just completely on repeat. So coming out through these 15 O seed beads, we're going to start repeating the design with our 2 more of our 11 O's and weaving back and forth to get the center here of our nice infinite pearl bracelet. Once you're finished up with the design, you're going to have approximately 6 or 7 of those little infinite pearl sections. Coming out to your last bead grouping here, you're going to repeat what you did at the start, connecting to that center line. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to, coming out of our pearl, do our 3 of our 11 O's, then we're going to do 3 of our 15 O's, and then 1 11 O, and this is with just the right needle. With the left needle, I'm going to do the exact same thing. 3, 3, and then instead of adding that final 1, I'm going to share that seed bead. So both thread and needle will go towards the clasp through that 11 O. That creates that nice little V section to pull it together and kind of mimic the rest of the design. Once you're here, we're going to attach to the center of our clasp. So I'm going to grab both needles, sew through the center, pull them both, making sure they're both through there, and then bring my thread and needle down through both of that bead. So the needle comes down through 1, needle comes down through 2. I'm going to tighten this up then and pull so I don't have any extra thread showing here. We're going to separate out our needles a little bit here, going out towards the outer edge on both the right and the left, and then we're going to connect into the clasp section of the other 2 loops. Now that we are to the exterior, we're going to go up along the sides all the way to, again, connect to those 2 loops on the opposite side. We'll then reinforce coming back the whole way, just restringing to reinforce on that starter side as well. With the needles now on the exterior, I'm going to take my needle that's on the right-hand side here, and I'm going to go back through all of my seed beads here. When I'm above my 15-0 here, I'm just going to add one more 15-0 to sit above. So a 15-0 goes on, and then I go through my 2 seed beads. That's going to just take care of kind of that empty void and that empty space that's going to be there. From here, we're going to start picking up our beads. I want to do one more 11-0, sew into the 4 11-0s that are already there. If one has kind of gone into your bow trio, just yank it back out. 3 more 15s get added, and then I sew through that grouping of 4. Once again, one of my 11-0s gets added, go into the 2 11s prior to that pearl grouping, one more 15 on top of that pearl grouping into the next 2 11s. Connecting the 2 11s with the 4 11s, you add one more 11. After that, you're going to add your 3 15-0 seed beads. You're then going to do this on both the right and the left side just to connect that nice outer edge. So I'm going to work all the way up on the right for a couple inches, then go over to the left, back to the right, back to the left, and so forth. Once you finish coming down the design and getting that nice congruent line, you're going to add, after coming through and out the last of your 11-0s, 2 15-0s, 3 11-0s, and then I have 1 15-0 following. From here, I've sewn through 1 loop on my clasp, one of the exterior loops, and I'm going to come back down through the project and out. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, repeating so it's a nice fit to the clasp. 1 and 2 of my 15-0s, 1 and 2 and 3 11s, 1 more 15, and then sewing into that 3rd loop. Once you sew into that 3rd loop, then you're going to come back down the design, connect the exact same way on the opposite side of the clasp, making sure when you do so that as you come down to the opposite side of the clasp that it's sitting correctly. When it comes to these tube clasps, you want to make sure that on one end you have the end facing on one side. On the other end, when you pick it up, you want to make sure that it's facing the opposite direction. So as you close it and pull it together, it sits nice and flush right along itself. So all I have to do now is go back down the project and add that same ending that we just did onto that starter side. Once you get to the opposite end, then I suggest you keep the clasp on. You're going to be coming out through that 15-0 that you added. Add 1 more 15-0, followed by your 3 11-0s, your 1 15-0, and then loop in to that side loop. Coming back down then in the project, going back through that 15, 11, 15, and then I'm going to let this here, do the same thing on the opposite side, bringing the thread back through, and after I'm finished, I'm going to bring both threads to this side here and simply tie off the thread after coming back down through the project to finish up this beautiful infinite pearl. It's a nice heavy bracelet. I love the feel of it, and I can't wait to see and to look at all the different color combos that you guys do in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Additionally, don't forget to comment below and let us know what colors and any changes that you may have made to the design. As always, thanks so much for joining me in making this Infinite Pearl Bracelet. It really is a fun and awesome kind of thicker, heavy bangle style bracelet. Remember, you can also make it a little bit more delicate looking, adding in some Czech glass or even some Potomax crystals. I'd love to see those looks, and again, you can post those in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Make sure, if you haven't yet, give a little thumbs up to the video, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. If you need any supplies, go ahead and check the description of the video. We have links there to the products. That way it's nice and easy for you to see what you need. As always, thanks so much for joining me, and enjoy your Infinite Pearl Bracelet.